Before we begin tonight's shir, Nesivos Shalom, our weekly Thursday night shir, this week for S.S.S. Vayishlach, Tovshin Pei Daled. Before we begin the shir tonight, just want to give some words of thanks. First of all, thank you to Hashem. I know it's very in style today to say thank you Hashem, sing thank you Hashem. But of course, every time we say it, we really mean it. And who would have thought 14 years ago, when we did an informal shir 1 week, we did a shir at the Southside Sandwich Shop. Proprietor, who is here tonight, the founder of this shir, Yosef Motherpearl. And we did it for 1 week. And from that 1 week, so many people encouraged me, kept pushing. The people that came to the shir every week, some of them are still sitting here tonight, 14 years later, still coming to the shir. And tonight we give our 700th straight shir. Baruch Hashem. It's beyond, for me, it's beyond that I had the s.S.S. I met the Nesivos Shalom one time. And from that time, I was totally taken by the Nesivos Shalom, and of course, I was more taken by his Torah, the warmth, the confidence that it gives. And every one of you that comes every Thursday night gives me the inspiration to continue to write another shir, to think about another shir, to do another shir. And Baruch Hashem, we reached the milestone of shir number 700 tonight. But again, none of this happened on its own. And we thanked Yosef Motherpearl from the Southside Sandwich Shop. So too, our videographer for the first 10 or 11 years of the shir, Rob Taylor, Olav Shalom, who is not here with us physically in the room tonight, but I'm sure he was so much part of the shir. I'm sure spiritually he is here. And the shir should continue to be Le'ilu Nishmasai, and it should be a s.S.S. for him. But the broadcasters of this shir, and the ones who took this shir to the next level and spread it and taught all of us really how to spread the shir, goes out today in audio all over the world. Thousands of people get it every week. I hear back from so many of you, and I so much appreciate it. And that would be the LakewoodScoop.com, who in the old days, before everything was digital, they would come down and physically sit there with a camera and upload it, and a camera on top of a napkin holder. We haven't graduated much from the napkin holders, but from the camera on top of the napkin holders to uploading it, to getting it up to the different places online where people can learn the Nesivos Shalom every week. So thank you very much to the LakewoodScoop.com. And of course, I would like to mention our hosts for the past 7 or 8 years. Everybody here at Bikur Cholim of Lakewood, a room full of tzaddikim every week. Thank you especially to those that brought me in here, to Rabbi Yehuda Kassirer, Rabbi Yehuda Osina, Rabbi Maya Brul, those that stand behind the shir every week and give us and host us, and also give us the encouragement and the beautiful place and the Toyamel and the whole matzav that we have here every Thursday night. So thank you, and Amir Hashem. Many times we take the shir on the road to Yerushalayim. We take the shir different places. Next week, Shabbos Chanukah, the shir will be from a different place. Somewhere you'll find out. Amir Hashem will be somewhere else. Amir Hashem, we should all be zeicha to permanently, once and for all, Klal Yisrael. It's something that we need so badly. We see the wheels are turning. The wheels toward Mashiach are turning every day. And we should all be able to go together to Yerushalayim, build up Bikur Cholim of Yerushalayim. They won't need their services so much, but I'm sure there'll be some chesed they can get involved in. And we should all together do many more Nesivos Shalom Shiurim from Yerushalayim. Now to talk, it'll be a little bit of a shorter shir this week, of course, because we have a deadline, how many minutes we can talk. And we find in this week's parsha that when Yaakov Avinu was going to meet Esav, the Torah tells us, Vayiro Yaakov ma'od. Yaakov Avinu was very afraid. Vayiro Yaakov ma'od vayetzer lo. Yaakov Avinu knew he was going to have this confrontation with Esav, and he was scared, he was very worried, he was afraid. What was he afraid of? Rashi tells us he was afraid that he may have done an Aveira. Imagine Yaakov Avinu, the Aveiras, right? Well, Yaakov Avinu, he may have done an Aveira along the way somewhere, and because of that Aveira, he would not have the Schusim to be able to defeat Esav. That's what Yaakov, he was afraid that maybe he did an Aveira somewhere along the way. And the question asked by Nesivos Shalom, many other Mefarshim asked the same question. Yaakov Avinu was afraid because he may have done an Aveira. Since when do we say that having bitachon in HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to do with Yischusim? Since when? Somebody that does an Aveira shouldn't have bitachon. He shouldn't be totally sure that HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes care of him. We all know that that's the way bitachon works. If you believe and you wholly believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help you and that He'll take care of you, and there's no one else in the world, there's no other people, there's no doctors, there's nothing besides HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and He can do everything, then you're Zaycha to Yeshua's. So Yaakov Avinu thought because maybe he did an Aveira, he doesn't have bitachon, that because he thinks he may not have the Schusim, he shouldn't have bitachon. Bitachon is for everyone, at all times, no matter where you're holding. So Nesivos Shalom explains with the following thought, and he says something very beautiful. We need to think about for a moment, last week before, we talked about brachos that Yaakov Avinu received from Yitzchak. And why did it have to be that if Yaakov Avinu, ultimately we know Yaakov Avinu was supposed to get the brachos, Yaakov Avinu got the brachos, you're supposed to get them also. Why was it that the brachos of Yaakov Avinu had to come about with Esav being involved? I mean, if Yaakov Avinu was supposed to get the brachos, let's channel it straight to Yaakov Avinu. Esav has to be involved. Why did they have to happen in a way that Yaakov Avinu, who was the absolute and the ultimate ish emes, we say, right, you say every day in davening, titain emes liYaakov. Yaakov Avinu epitomized truth, emes. So the brachas had to come about in a way that Yaakov Avinu had to say something out of his mouth which appeared to be sheker. When Yaakov Avinu said, Anochi Esav b'chayrecha, he said, I am Esav, your b'char. So the brachas had to come about through Yaakov Avinu saying something which we would think maybe is not so true. And even with the explanation of Rashi, says in Nesivos Shalom, Rashi tells us that what Yaakov Avinu was saying when he said, Anochi Esav b'chayrecha, he was saying, Anochi, I'm me. I'm the one who's bringing you the food. But Esav b'chayrecha, Esav is still your b'char. But even according to that pshat, there seems to be some deception over here. And Yaakov Avinu received the brachas through some sort of deception, a quote, sort of fooling Yitzchak Avinu. Why does that make sense? So says the Nesivos Shalom, we have to understand that had the brachas come to Yaakov Avinu straight away, had Yaakov Avinu received the brachas straight, that the brachas of Hevei Gevir Le'achecha, V'yishtachavu Lecha B'nei Imecha, the Yaakov Avinu, you will always rule the world. You're going to be in charge. Esav is going to be subordinate to you. That you, Yaakov Avinu, Klal Yisrael, you're always going to be on top. Had those brachas come straight to Yaakov Avinu, there could not have been any Goliath. We would have never gone into Golus. We would have never gone down. We would have never been under Esav or any of the others who ruled over us during Golus. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew that it was not the time for that yet. In the Zman Mashiach, it's going to be time for that. Klal Yisrael was not ready, was not worthy of that we should be constantly on top. So Hashem orchestrated matters that it should come about in a roundabout way that was lacking shleimus. That Yaakov had to do something, say something which seems to be an untruth in order that the bracha that he gets has to come through Esav. It wouldn't be a bracha totally b'shleimus that would cause that there should never be any downtime for Klal Yisrael. The Asid Lavai, very soon when Mashiach comes, it's all going to come together b'shleimus, that we will totally take over Esav, and may it be very, very soon. But in the meantime, it's not the right time yet. And that is what Yaakov Avinu says in Nesivos Shalom. Yaakov Avinu meant when he said Shema. Yaakov Avinu thought Shema Yigroim HaChet. Maybe the chet, maybe the fact that I said Anochi Esav b'chayrecha, maybe I'm the one who's causing all of this. Maybe I'm the one who's causing the so many troubles that Klal Yisrael will go through in their struggle throughout the millennia, throughout all the years, throughout the struggles of Golus. Yaakov Avinu thought, maybe it's my fault. Maybe because of me, we can't have a final shleimus. Maybe I will have to fall into the hands of Esav now because I did not get the brachos in a straight way. Maybe Klal Yisrael and all the Goliaths will have to suffer, and maybe the suffering will start now. That when I meet Esav, Shema Yigroim HaChet, maybe I didn't say the complete truth, and because of that, I will fall into the hands of Esav. And to Yaakov, that was a pigam and a chisaron, that he wasn't totally truthful. But as far as bitachon, Yaakov Avinu, of course, had bitachon. And of course he believed that HaKadosh Baruch Hu would deliver Esav into his hands. Of course he believed that everything would work out for the best. Because as we said, bitachon is not based on your level of where you're holding in your level of ruchnius. Bitachon is for everybody. The word of bitachon comes from, we have to know, the pasuk tells us, Bonim Hashem, Bonim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. We're children of Hashem. And the halacha, as we know, the Gemara tells us, the halacha is like Rab Meir, that whether we are doing mitzvahs, or we're doing averis, or we're good, or we're not so good at that moment, the halacha is bein kach ubein kach kruyim banim. We're children of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that can never and will never change. You can't cut off the relationship of a father and a son, even if someone does averos. Bein kach ubein kach, they're called banim. And bitachon means that Hashem has mercy on us, kirachem of al banim. That never changes. It doesn't matter where we're holding. Wherever we are in our growth, it's unaffected by the fact that we are children is unaffected by that. Even if you are not on a worthy level at this moment. So the fear that Yaakov Avinu had here when he was meeting Esav was something very, very specific. He just felt that he won't be zoicha now to the bracha of hevi gevir la'achecha, that I'll rule over my brothers at this time, that he wasn't roi for it yet. And therefore, Yaakov Avinu was worried. Yaakov Avinu was worried that maybe there was a begam with his bracha. And really the lesson is the lesson of bitachon. That no matter what we see is going around the world, no matter how crazy the news looks, no matter where we're holding in the news of current events, whatever we think, we have to remember as Klal Yisrael, we are Hashem's children. We don't understand the ways sometimes, but the bottom line is that never changes. We have bitachon, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes care of us and will always take care of us. And we should all be zoicha to have many, many more shiurim together, and as we said, to be back home in Yerushalayim b'mheira v'yameinu amen.